And how are you doing? You may be thinking, wow, I thought this podcast was dead. Me too. Life has been a little stressful. Classes have been a little stressful. I'm trying to graduate from my undergrad a year early, so I'm taking a lot of hard classes all at once. No fun classes for me. And I'm hearing back from graduate schools. I got accepted to a couple, and it looks like, I don't want to say the name of the school, because, if I pick somewhere else, I'm going to look dumb. But there's a school that I got accepted to that is doing research in environmental chemistry. Are they doing research about plastic? No. Even though plastic is my passion. They're doing research on like CO2 and a lot of other things with the environment that I love. It's just a recommendation that if you're a science student and you're wanting to go to graduate school, a real good tip is that fine-tune what you want to research in. Don't just apply places because you think this seems like a cool place. Look at their research. I did not do that. I just applied places, and then now there's this school, it's called Purdue, it's in northern Indiana, and there's a professor who is doing research in plastic water bottles. Like, oh my god, my dream. And I'm very upset because I did not apply to that school because I didn't think about it. And oh, by the way, I was looking at, once I realized that plastic was my passion, I was looking up on Google, professors who do research in plastic, and all the top hits were women. Like, how amazing is that? Women know what's going on. We know that this plastic lifestyle is not sustainable and it's going to kill us. Like, good for women. I'm so freaking proud. These women, they're going to get a Nobel Prize. It's going to be so good. I'm so happy for them. Oh my gosh. So anyways, this is the same intro for the YouTube channel and the podcast, but I just wanted to say that for the YouTube channel, we're going to start doing things a little differently, because before we had the YouTube channel and the podcast be the same, and that's why I kind of stopped, because I figured who wants to listen to the same thing twice? So the podcast will be about, things like before, where it was like styrofoam cup versus, a paper cup, things like that. On the podcast today, we're going to be talking about reasons why to buy used and not new. And on the YouTube channel, I think we're just going to talk about chemistry-related things. Like today on the YouTube channel, we're going to talk about DevaCurl and what I think is actually going on from a chemist perspective. We're also going to be reviewing products on the YouTube channel and talking about basically answering any of your chemistry questions that you have, topics that are confusing to you, and just, yeah. Also, for all the podcast listeners, I did try the Made with Real Poo paper, the little notepad thing, and it actually wrote really well. Like, I used a really crappy pen without realizing it, and because the paper was soft, it was way easier to get the pigment from the pen on there, and it was amazing. But anyways, let's dive on into the YouTube or podcast that you're listening to. These were my thoughts on it after some research, and then I found several videos that kind of not confirmed, but also thought this is what was happening with the product. And I was like, I'm not the only one. I'm not the only one that thinks that, because I haven't got my PhD yet, so I don't want to make accusations, acting like I'm a big hotshot. So other people also thought this, and I was like, okay, that we're going to talk about it now, so if other people are talking about it too. And DevaCurl is at fault. I also think oil companies are at fault for, poisoning us, but that's just me. I have recently learned about this DevaCurl thing, and you'd be thinking, that's last week's news. why are you talking about this? I'm talking about this because I'm a chemist. I'm about to go get a PhD in chemistry about polymers, plastics. Like, research in plastics is my passion. There's a professor at Purdue University that does research on plastic water bottles, and that is like my dream. Because honestly, plastics are poisoning us, and I feel like there's a correlation between the production and use of plastics in everyday life and the rate of people getting cancer. Because cancer wasn't something that was hugely happening in like the 50s before plastic became a big thing, and there's like plastics. I think it's called a BPS. I don't remember the abbreviation that people know it as, but in plastic that's linked to cancers. So, anyways, I'm very passionate about plastics. I'm very passionate about chemistry because that is my life. So, I just found out about DevaCurl, and I was watching Brad Mono. I don't know how to say his last name, but I love him. I was watching him talk about it, and because I've used DevaCurl in my life, and obviously my hair is curly, my hair has gone down in curliness since I used it. Granted, when I first started using it, my hair, like, it didn't get any curlier with the product, so I just stopped using it. And then I started using the same product again since I had it and I wanted to get rid of it. I shouldn't have done that, just because the product was sitting there in like aqueous form, like, you know, liquid form for so long that it could like erode and wear on the plastic within the container it was in that could react with it, and then it could up my hair, which is exactly what's happening here. It's exactly what's happening here with the product. The point is that DevaCurl, they've been bought and sold a lot within the last year. They changed manufacturers to a third-party like container manufacturer. You know, the people that make the bottles and stuff has changed. This new manufacturer for the containers, because people have checked that the ingredients for, you know, the products haven't changed. The ingredients haven't changed. If they started at a different manufacturing place, the ingredients could be the same but poorer quality. That could be an issue. But also the thing is that it could just, when they moved to a third-party container manufacturer, it was a poorer quality. I mean, that's it. It's easier to break down at that point. I think soft plastics like the water bottles you can crunch really hard or really easily, those are super easy to like erode away. That's the best word people understand. Like, because water especially, that's why I don't drink from those, you know, flimsy water bottles, is because they sit in the sun for so long in that anyways, but also, like, water is a universal solvent. It can dissolve and erode away most things. So, think about if you have a metal water bottle. If you leave water in there for a really long time, a couple of days, a week or something, the water bottle's gonna start tasting kind of metally. You're gonna have some metal ions in there. It's gonna taste a little metally because water erodes everything. So, flimsy plastic that is not stronger than metal, the bonds in metal are so much stronger than plastic. Imagine how much plastic ends up in the water bottle. And there's a back bond. We're not getting into a whole chemistry lecture about organic metallics, okay? It's just a poorer quality. It's easier to break down, like I said, like those flimsy water bottles. That same type of plastic is being used for the DevaCurl bottles now. And, you know, water is inert. It doesn't react with anything, you know? So basically you're just drinking plastic. It's not really reacting with the water. It's going to react within your body, but it's not going to react with the water you're drinking. But water's inert. The DevaCurl product is not, because it's supposed to react with your hair to make it curlier to its curly maximum. And when this same flimsy plastic is being used, this very easeable, very easy to break down plastic in a road is being used in an aqueous, a liquid product, it is going to break down into it and it's going to react. And that's why, even though the label says it's all the same ingredients, and it could be all the same ingredients, people are having issues with DevaCurl. It's messing up their hair and everything because a chemical reaction is happening within the container.